Coming to you from the Fishbowl Radio Network inside Globe Life Stadium in Arlington, Texas. This is The Boardroom with JaCoy James Pugh, LaToya Barrow, and Faustina Nkwacha. Executive producer, Cindy B.
Hello, and welcome to The Boardroom with Black Women's Wall Street, Inc. This is your girl, JaCoy James Pugh.
And this is LaToya Barrow.
And hello, everyone. This is Faustina Nkwacha, and welcome to The Boardroom.
All right, welcome to The Boardroom. All right, so, I was posting on social media and I said, I know people didn't think that we were going to take a break, y'all. Like, we have been hitting the ground running. We had a mixer last month. This past Saturday, we had our gala, and we are back at it yet another week, right?
Yeah. Ooh, no break
here. That's what we do.
That's exactly what we do. It's exactly what we're called to do. We got to keep the train moving. So Welcome to The Boardroom, everyone. As a reminder, this is a platform that challenges and disrupts the norm in the business world while giving a voice and permission to the Black female business owner. And so, Faustina, tell everybody who we are as Black Women's Wall Street, what our mission is, and how they can, invest in us.
Well, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, but we're designed to be an entrepreneurial development organization, an EDO, and our mission is to empower Black women aspiring to become business owners by providing financial literacy, startup business training first and foremost, financial literacy and education so that they can impact local and global communities. And, there's so many ways in which you can support us and sponsor us and be a part of what we do. First and foremost, keep tuning in to The Boardroom with Black Women's Wall Street, Inc. And also we have opportunities for you to do your commercials on our station and for us to give you a little bit of shout out through our Beauty and Brain segment. We also want you to remember that we are a 501c3 organization, as I said, and we just completed our Idea to Inception program last month, and we celebrated our I2I graduates at our gala on Saturday, which was an amazing time. So when you sponsor and support us and you donate and invest in us, you're actually investing in the Black women that we serve. And then we also are going to be providing small business consulting too. So once we take the women through our Idea to Inception program, it's a continuous process of supporting and providing them information and resources and access to local industry experts like the fabulous woman Rita Oliver that we're going to have on today. And then we want you to know that you can also volunteer with us. Join our BWWS Village and, put your time, your expertise, your talent, your skill, your potential, all of that and all of you into working with us and partnering us as we make sure that we make a local and global impact, as I said. So LaToya, tell everyone how they can connect with us and be part of what we do.
Yeah, so you can connect with us on our website at www.blackwomenswallstreet.org/The Boardroom. And women's is plural and possessive. Yes. And we're on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at The Boardroom Radio Show, on Twitter at Boardroom_radio, and LinkedIn at The Boardroom Radio. We're also on YouTube, you guys, so go subscribe now.
Awesome. All right. So you've heard it here first. Black Women's Wall Street, Inc., 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are always looking to link arms with those that are Black women and supporters of Black women so that we can help them to move their businesses forward. So we are really excited today. We have an amazing guest with us by the name of Rita Oliver. Rita is the founder and owner of Strategies, Options, and Solutions, LLC. And she is known as a master financial coach, wealth strategist, and an author. And so without further ado, we're going to bring in the wonderful Rita Oliver. Welcome, Rita.
Thank you, JaCoy. Thank you, Faustina and LaToya. Thank you, ladies, for having me on your show today. So I am thoroughly impressed. I love what Faustina said, and I am very, very supportive of all of that. Being a Black woman and an entrepreneur, that we need the assistance and we need the information so that we can increase and enhance our skills and knowledge to grow successful, ongoing businesses. So I'm really excited to be here today.
Absolutely. And I need to take care of first order of business. First thing first, I need people to know and recognize that Rita is my Sarah. So,
Okay.
Yes.
so Rita is my Sarah of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Yeah. So you know what
let
I've
it be
been.
known.
You know what I've been cut with. So you.
Right. Just wanted to have a little fun, y'all. Want to have a little fun. So Rita, okay, listen, it's really important. This month, October, I know we're in the last week of the month, but October is National Financial Planning Month. And that is a really important thing. I don't think that a lot of people even knew that was, know that this is Financial Planning Month. And so, Rita, let's open up with that. Let's talk a little bit about your background as a financial coach and a wealth strategist, but then also the importance of the Financial Planning Month and what people need to be thinking about and ramping up, especially as we're closing out this year. So talk a little bit about that, Rita.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, Jacoy, I'm a financial coach, master financial coach, and I also say wealth strategist, and I call myself the money strategist. Mm-hmm. So financial coaching is a discipline where we work with people basically a lot on the behavior side of money. We still work with the numbers, but it's about the behavior. And we kind of talked about that a little bit. I work with people on their mindset, their behavior, and their action with money, because money comes down to behavior. It does. Yeah. And so our mindset dictates how we behave with money and the actions that we take. And our mindset was developed from when we were born, not when we were born, but what we saw our parents or whoever raised us or reared us do with money. And that has carried over to us, or we've seen other things and we've incorporated that. So when it comes now to financial planning, October is Financial Planning Month. And one of the reasons I think that is in October is because we're in that last quarter of the year, the last 90 days. And granted, we're at the end of October, but we still got 60. Today is the 25th, so October has 31 days, so that's 6 days left. And then you put that with the 61 with November, so we got 68 days, 67 days or whatever now to the new year. So that last quarter is when businesses really do the push. They really make their sales. People are starting to get bonuses. Things are changing. They're forecasting. So this is to give us the opportunity now to say, what do we want to do differently in the new year? Not wait to the new year, but we've got time now to plan for that. And that's what that financial plan is about. You see, the financial plan is that instrument that helps you to navigate the journey of your life. Is to help you to manage that income and those expenses and those investments better so that you can navigate the waters and achieve those short-term and long-term goals. So when it comes to planning, it's about the arranging of one's life to meet their goals, okay? So when we start with it, we've got 7 pillars. 7 is the number of completion. So we got 7 pillars in financial planning. That first pillar is what I just said, the income and expenses. Because what we first have to know is what we're working with. The client may want to do this in 1, 3, 5, 10 years, but Jacoy and Latoya and Faustina, it comes down to this. Do you have the money to fund it? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you said it now.
Do you have the money to fund it? You may have the goal and desire, but do we have the money to fund it? Well, we know over time, things can change with income. Income can grow. You can open a business. You can have more money. But we start with where we are today to see, can we really secure the tomorrow that you want? And that's that first pillar. That's the foundation of anything. Same thing, my sisters out here, Black women running a business. That's the same thing for your business. Revenue and expenses. What's that foundation that you're working with? You gotta always know that. So then with financial planning, once we know that, then we gotta look at the other number 2. How are you mitigating your risk in your life? That's your home, your auto, your life, your health. Insurance is how we mitigate risk. Risk is the potential that something will happen. So we need insurance to help us to mitigate that, to take care of that. Then the third thing comes to our tax strategy. In America, we have a tax code. When you earn money, meaning that you work for somebody else, you're going to pay a marginal tax rate. which is the highest tax rate in America. But when you are wealthy, you're basically living off investment income, which is a much lower tax rate down to zero. That's the big difference in this country. Investment income is why the 1% is the 1%. That's what you need to understand. And so then with tax strategy in America, it's three things. You want tax avoidance, tax reduction, and tax deferral. And then as I move into investments, that's how you can get that. You know, the name of this show is Black Women Wall Street, and Wall Street is all about investing. It is about investing your money in securities that are going to grow and appreciate and give you income down the road. And we as Black women have to do more in investing. You know, you can have a savings account. When I talked about income and expenses, we want to have a savings account for emergencies, but a savings account is not going to grow your money, okay? It gives you liquidity and access when you need it, when you have an emergency. But we're talking about growing money for the long term down here, 5, 10, 20 years, that's appreciating. So investments, that will be your stocks, growth stocks. That will be your growth mutual funds. That will be your bonds, your treasury bills. That's real estate investment trusts, growth and income funds. Those are investments, things that appreciate down the road. And then with those investments, that goes into the next pillar, retirement. You got to put those in your retirement funds. If you're working for someone, 401k, 457b, 403b. Entrepreneur, Black women, hear me, sisters, you can have a retirement fund now as an entrepreneur. And I'm here to tell you today, you got to have one, okay? Yeah. You got to have one. If you're bringing revenue into that business, you can direct some of that revenue to have a retirement plan because the business can fund it. And as an entrepreneur, you can put 25% of net earnings away tax-free up to $58,000 a year.
Okay, Rita. Rita, let me tell you something. Rita, I don't think people are ready. When I tell you that I don't think that people grab their pen and papers yet.
Look,
let me tell you.
I did.
Y'all need to get them. And see, Jacquard, I know by grabbing a pen and paper as a pyramid. You better have it ready.
Always. Okay, listen, Rita, okay, let's, like Jacquard said, they're not ready. So let's kind of pull back.
Okay, we can pull back.
Okay, so we have people in different places, spaces, ages, stages of life, right? So we have those who are kind of ready. They just want to know what to do. There are those who have no clue. And then those who are, you know, they say you're not starting over, you're starting from experience. Well, some people are starting from zero and starting with experience. So just on a base level, because you really talked about this being a strategy, and business is a strategy. Your financial wellness is a strategy. And you mentioned strategy and foundation. And for me, when you said foundation, my ears perked up. So from foundational level, no matter where you are, okay, everybody get your pen and paper ready. She's about to say this one time only. Where do you suggest and recommend everyone starts just on a base level?
On a base level, I'm going to always tell people, even when people come to talk to me, I'm going to ask you about income and expenses. That's the base level for all of it, Faustina. Everything is there for the departure for change. What do you bring in and what's going out? The cash flow. You have to know that. And here is the key, is that with income, here is my gauge that I always use during my career. I'm about to retire in about 80 days at the end of January. My gauge, yes, after 36 years of service in the federal government, I am retiring. I started this at 19, right after I pledged, Jacquard, started working for the federal government as a co-op student. But my gauge was always that I wanted to be making 2 times my age. That was my gauge because you want your income growing. So if you're out here at age 40, you should be making $80,000 a year. Ooh. That was my gauge. So it's income. So we've got to look at our income. You know, things are going up. The average apartment in Dallas is what, $1,500, $1,600 a month? Yeah. $12 to $15 an hour is not going to pay for that. Okay, it's just not. I'm being honest. Yeah. So, and there are so many educational opportunities out here. So many people providing educational opportunities, and then the opportunity to open your own business. Coming here to Black Women Wall Street to get educated as to how to do it, so you can make that kind of money. So Faustina, it's always income and expenses. Now let me go to expenses. We have two types. You got fixed and you got variable. Your fixed are things like your gas, your lights, your water, your auto insurance, all that stuff. Variable is what's killing us.
Yeah.
Variable is what I call requested debt.
Ooh.
Mortgage, auto, student loan, credit cards, payday loans. That stuff you went out and asked for.
Yeah.
Okay? And you went out and asked for that. Yep. Now, let me make a disclaimer. Let me make a comment here. Most people can't afford to pay cash for a mortgage or car. They can't. Okay? That's true. Most people can't afford to do that. And then you got to learn how to leverage debt and use it sparingly. There's nothing in America that says you got to stay in it forever, because these high debt payments are what's causing us, Faustina, to not be able to have the disposable income to invest or start the business or do this, to put that kind of money in the stock market or in investments to grow our money. We've got to get out of this those variable expenses, that debt. We've got to pay it off and get out of it. Just like the question you asked me about debt, we got to get rid of that. There are ways to do it, but people have to be able to understand you didn't get in it overnight. And unless you get a lump sum of money, you're not going to be able to pay it off overnight. You've got to have a plan, and you got to put the time in, and you got to have the money to pay it off. One of the things that gets people in America, and this is what happens, is that America has all of us out here conditioned to, I can make the payment. And that's all y'all focus on, is I can make the payment. You go in a car dealership, the man says, how much you want your payment to be? You tell him, and he work it out, and you leave out there driving for 84 months with that payment.
Yeah. That's a gut punch. That's a gut punch, Rita. And you're right. We are conditioned.
We are conditioned to I can make the payment. So until you sit down and list those debts and list what you're paying monthly and list that balance, once you see that balance owed, that's going to change it for you. Because see, when you think about a mortgage, credit cards, auto, and you sit down and add all that up and you're looking at $350,000, that's going to change your trajectory there. That's going to change it, because that's a whole lot of money plus interest that you got to pay. So Faustina, we have to start at income and expenses, because we should be, as I said, twice our age. You got to keep your income growing. You have got to do that. And then you got to live on less than you make. Yeah. And you got to reduce and eliminate those variable expenses. Once you do that, you can then, as I say, it's a departure for change. I can talk it because I went through it. Okay. Mm-hmm. I am an avid shopper. I admit that. I don't shy away from that. Avid shopper, been in the debt, 5 figures debt, looking good, but I did not have any money in savings. And it's not that I wasn't making money, making 6 figures and didn't have any money. Had $75 until the next payday. Okay? That's what I can talk, and I can be honest about it. Right. And here's the first thing we all have to do. As you said, some of us are ready, some of us are not. We got to look ourselves in the mirror like I had to do and say that I was the problem. And I was the only one that could solve it, because I am the gatekeeper. My word that I put out in 2021 for everybody is that you control the flow. You control the flow. You control what's coming in there. You control what's going out. So we have to control the flow better. And the way we control it better is that we've got to look at ourselves and say that we got to stop. If you want to have the dream house in 10 years, you can't have it if you don't have any money. That's just a fact. You can't fund it. So you gotta take a step back and look at what you're doing and what you're not doing and face reality and say, I gotta make a change. And also you gotta do this. You gotta reach out and get help. I reached out and got help from a soror, reached out and got help, you know? And I wasn't in a bad place. I had paid my house off, had paid the car off, had the money, Jacoy, but I had so much disposable income. I had 4 boxes coming to the house every week. And I said, okay, wait a minute. Purses and shoes not going to help me retire.
And Rita, I have a grand appreciation for what you're saying. You're keeping it real because I think right now where we are, where social media is such a really big, it's the new peer pressure of America, where people are trying to show and prove that they have the Louis Vuitton bags. They're trying to show and prove that they have the biggest house on the block. They're trying to show and prove that they got the latest car that just rolled out. You know, you have a lot of people that's really trying to show people other things, or what we say, keep up with the Joneses, or we're trying to purchase all of these things and have this mindset of instant gratification, and it's getting us into trouble. And so I want to be able to tap into that a little bit, because I want to make sure that anybody, you know, and we're going to go to a commercial break in just a moment, but I want to make sure when we set this up coming back, is I want to make sure that as the Black women that we're serving and supporting, that they know and understand that if you are going into business for yourself, you're going to have to wait on those luxuries, on those wants, and focus on the needs. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit when we come back from this break. So as a reminder, you're here with the Boardroom with Black Women's Wall Street, Inc., where you will always have a seat at the table.
Let's keep the conversation going. It's the Boardroom with Black Women's Wall Street Incorporated.
Do you own a business that recently suffered loss of employees, revenue, and customers? Are you leaving money on the table by not having an online presence? You could be missing out on hundreds, even thousands of dollars in sales each month. Establishing an online presence is what allowed many businesses to stay open, even thrive during a time of record unemployment. I'm Melinda Williams, actress and founder of She'sGotAHabit.com. Most people know me as Bird from the hit television series Soul Food, but I'm also a hardworking entrepreneur focused on helping others expand their business to include an e-commerce selling platform. I created She'sGotAHabit.com to empower women to achieve economic wellness and better health, mind, body, and soul. Head over to She'sGotAHabit.com and join our community. Connect with us and be inspired and motivated to build and grow your business today. It's time to build generational wealth. The future is now.
You're inside the Boardroom with Black Women's Wall Street Incorporated.
All right, you are back with the Boardroom with Black Women's Wall Street, Inc. This is Jacoy James Pugh.
This is Latoya Barrow.
And this is Christina. Welcome back to the Boardroom.
All right, so we are here still continuing our discussion with Rita Oliver, who is a master financial coach, wealth strategist, as well as an author. And so we were just having a very candid conversation about finances and things that we need to do differently and ways in which we get ourselves into debt and we don't plan for the future. Let me kick it over to you, Toya, because I know that there was a question that you had earlier.
Yes. So, Miss Rita, I really wanted to talk about your book and how you targeted the actual married couples, if you will. And I guess regardless if they're Black, white, or whatever. So the name of the book I have is Disclose Before You Disrobe: Financial Necessities Before You Say I Do and After. So what I really wanted to know about this is what made you decide to target this market for, married couples, and how is it that you can help them? You can just, say it quickly. You don't have to be
sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. The way it came about was coaching the married couples. And as we got into it and delved into the numbers on this and that, there was some energy and there were things coming out that people didn't know. Yeah. And so, and it was just, Latoya, this energy kept coming out. And so I kept seeing it. So I said, okay, looks like this is a subject that needs to be addressed. And I had also gone to an industry training, because I continue my training, and they had done a survey and they said that married people said they could get over cheating, but they couldn't get over any money.
Right. So it is for high divorce rate, seriously, over money.
And so money is called 50% of divorces in America. So I said, if we can talk about this on the front end, and we know where we stand going in, what he's got, what she's got in terms of assets, liability, and legal obligations, and we can put this all on the table and see the picture and talk about it, discuss it, and also get help that we could prevent some of this from happening with divorces, because the divorce on the back end is all about money. It's not about any emotion, any feeling. It's about what's mine and when am I going to get it. That's what it's about. So I came from the standpoint, Latoya, if that we could get physical, PHYSICAL, we could get physical, FISCAL.
Come on.
So that's where I came from with this, is that if, being a woman, that when that happens, that's a very sacred and very, very special part of us.
Yeah.
And if we can just, and not to be too graphic here to your listeners, that if we can get cozy and comfortable under the comforters, we sure can get cozy and comfortable on the couch and talk about the Coens.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen. You know what, Rita? Let me say this. It makes me think about my mom. I was raised under this phrase. They said, romance without finance is a nuisance.
Oh, yes.
That's it. So, right. So,
shout out to Mama. Hey, I love it.
Absolutely. Shout out. So, Latoya, I came from the standpoint of really wanting to help couples to be able to do this, because it seemed that people were having difficulties talking about it, bringing it up, didn't know how, and then didn't know what to talk about. So in the book, I talk about mindset, because both of you coming in there with different ones. You don't even know. Then I talk about the art of the conversation, that we need to have awareness, respect, and temperament when we have this conversation. And chapter 3 is what I call, it's all in the details. I lay out tables with assets, liability, and legal obligations, telling you what to bring to the table, bank statements, tax returns, so we can go through it, and I give you the questions to ask, so we can know where we're sitting here. That as we go in, because people plan for the 8 days, the wedding, reception, and the honeymoon, but nobody's thinking about the next 8 years.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. Listen, marriage, it's about love, but it's also business. And that marriage certificate, it's a contract.
Well, it's a legal document. You got to go down. It's a legal document, and a divorce is a legal transaction on the end when we think about it. So it is, outside of the friendship, companionship, and physical intimacy, it is really a business relationship.
Right.
It is. Yeah. So I feel that if we take care of the business, relationships are already enough work, okay, with two people. Don't bring money into it when we can sit down concrete and attack this with money. Because see, one of the strategies I give in the book, Latoya, for couples is that y'all need to live on one salary. You think about it, if 26 paychecks were going to the bank. See, Faustina, there's no issue with no debt at that point, because we can save, we can invest, and we can take care of whatever we need to do if you got 26 paychecks hitting the bank.
Okay. All right. So you are dropping some serious financial. So and I'm a foundation person, so I want to get back to the 7.
Sure.
We got through to number 4. We have 3 more. So Ms. Rita, please quickly tell us the other 3, because I'm taking notes.
About the pillars. So we did retirement. And then the last one is the estate planning. So people don't like to talk about it. It's a morbid subject, but we need to make plans for the distribution of our assets when we're not here, and also for our bodies. Advanced directives for what you want done, resuscitation, and how you want your final arrangements to be done. We should not leave our families here in a mess. Yes. We shouldn't. We should not leave them here in a mess, because if there's no legal document there, then they are paying attorneys to prove who they are and that they're entitled to your assets. When we have the opportunity today to do a will or do a living trust to get all of that done. So Faustina, it's first the fundamentals, income and expenses, getting the savings, emergency fund. We got to mitigate the risk with the insurance. We got the investments. We got the retirement. We got the tax strategy, and we have the estate planning. Okay. So all of that takes us on a journey. When you get that plan laid out for all of that in your life, then you're on automatic, because you can navigate. Every day you get up, I can take care of the month, and I got tomorrow building. That's what this is about. And going to Jacoy's comment before we went to break about us as Black women and women, the instant gratification, the now, the Louis Vuittons, the Gucci's, the Prada shoes, all of this stuff. All of that stuff is nice. But the thing is that you got to be patient with yourself. You know, everybody wants it today because on this phone, you can do everything today and do it instantly. But if you're talking about really building wealth, wealth takes time. And it takes commitment, it takes decision. You got to be deliberate and you got to be consistent. Buying a $2,000 bag is not going to get you any wealth. It's not. You can get the bag, but get the bag when you've paid off a mortgage. You got a paid for car. You got several $1,000s in the bank. You got some investment. You go buy the $2,000 bag then. Because see, it's all about priority. What are your priorities and what do you value? What do you value?
You just gave me an idea, Rita. Let's do a challenge. Let's do a financial fast where for 3 weeks, we don't spend money on that. Now, I've done it before. It's hard. But
it's hard.
It's kind of like, just doing a regular food fast. It's once you get into it, then it's something that you can integrate. So we're getting into the end of the year, the start of 2022. Mm-hmm. We can do a challenge and just do a financial fast and not spend money on those things except the necessities.
Except the necessities. And I'm going to tell you another thing, Faustina, because here's something that I had to do when I was in debt and when I faced me. I stopped writing checks. Okay. I stopped doing that. And so I went to a cash basis. So I would go to the store, go to Walmart and buy money orders to pay my bills because I needed to know that was the amount of money I had. That helped me to get organized and to really pay. Instead of robbing Peter to pay Paul, going to do this, do that, I started just paying it out cash. And that's something too that I teach my clients. I get people to a cash basis. And that's something we got to get back to is cash. Yeah. Is that, we do a lot of what I call S&S out here, swiping and signing. That's what we do. we swiping these cards and we have no idea what's in the bank. Yeah. So and what I mean by priority is let's prioritize our lives. And that's what the financial plan does. We've got the expenses here. So we've got to have in the plan, what are our expenses? Remember I talked about that? So when we've got the money allotted here, we take care of that. And then we've got the money over here for our investments and retirement and all of that. We got the money for our emergency savings here. And then, hey, I say you do have to enjoy life. What I create for my clients is what I call a P&L account, pleasure and leisure. Okay, because we got to have some fun. It's just about how much do you have and what do you do? Because I have a P&L account. I pay myself every 2 weeks. That's for my dining out. That's for any shopping I want to do. That's for any traveling, all of that. When I go out to eat, I pay cash. I don't swipe a card. I swipe a card at the grocery store and I swipe for gas. Yeah. And then I pay my bills electronically because I've got it prioritized that nothing impacts anything. The other thing we have to do, Jacoy, in terms of priority, when we're talking about saving and investing and building that foundation, Faustina, is we got to do it automatically. We got to do it automatically. We got to have it withdrawn before you ever see that paycheck. Yeah. You got to have it going to your retirement account if you're working before you ever see it. You got to have it going to that emergency savings before it ever hits the bank. And that's what I do, is that I have it drawn out for the 401k before I see it, goes for the emergency fund, goes for the IRA, and goes for another savings. I live on less than I earn.
So
that's
Rita, here's
got to get to.
So here's something. Let's go all the way back to the beginning of our conversation, because you were talking heavily about investments, and you were talking about how that investing is what's going to separate the 1%ers from us middle class, right? Correct. And so when it comes to investing, I think it'll be really important for our listeners, those of us that are Black female entrepreneurs, and we are probably just scraping just to generate the revenue. And we all know just the basic accounting equation of just revenue minus expenses is your profit, right? But it's important for us to understand what are our options or what's available to us when it comes to investing as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur. So can you talk a little bit about that and what options are available for investing, or what investing could look like for an entrepreneur or a small business owner?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when we look at the small business owner, if you're online or brick and mortar, so you're bringing in revenue every month. Okay. Let's just say we got it at the end of the month. What's key in this, Jacoy and Faustina and Latoya, is that business owner has expenses to operate the business. So it's key, just like I said in the household, we got to know those expenses. What we need to put in there in those expenses are investments for a retirement plan as part of those expenses. Just like you paying for the website, for Canva, for MailChimp, your email, we need to put investments in there. Also, too, you need to put in there allocation for a contingency fund for the business. Business need an emergency fund. Look at COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So when it comes to investments, what's available to a small business owner, the same thing available to you as an individual. You can go to any, if you have the money, depending on what your revenue is, if you round $25,000 a month, you go to Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley, open an IRA for the business, self-directed IRA for your business. If you're not, and say you're just getting started, you may be generating $5,000 a month. You have apps like Stash, STASH, that are available to you where you could start an IRA there or just a regular investment account. And you can do as little as $5 a week. I started out doing $25 a week and I'm up to $50 now. So I do an IRA and I do an investment account. And so what they have created on Stash are exchange traded funds. And what those funds are similar to mutual funds, but they trade like stocks. And so it has in there things of stocks, companies that you know. For instance, they give it real cute names so you can identify, like Young Money. So that's stuff like Facebook, Amazon, Google, all of stuff like that. Then you have one that I have called Modern Meds. When COVID came in, everybody was, we were devastated. LaToya and I were talking about it. But then as we got into COVID, my investment mind started ticking, saying, okay, well, we're in this. So somebody's got to get us out of this. We got to get a vaccine. We got to get some medicine. So I started researching companies. So I started hearing on TV about Moderna, about Pfizer, about Regeneron, about Gilead Sciences, about Abbott. So then I found on there something called Modern Meds. So all those companies were in there because I knew we were going to have to get out of the vaccine. So part of what we have to do as being investors, is listen to what's going on around us, okay? We had to come out of the vaccine. So think about now, people are talking about supply chain management, that you can't hardly get stuff here. So that's transportation companies. So people are going to have to get transportation companies to move the goods from the port all the way to the stores. So there's a transportation exchange traded fund in there. So just start thinking about what's going on in America. What's going on? Listening to the news, watching CNBC gives you a lot of information because that's our biggest issue now, is getting the goods to us to be able to get it. Supply chain. So who does that? Trucks and trains. So there could be a transportation ETF or a mutual fund there. So it's about listening to those things. And then also getting what you're familiar with. Amazon brings everybody everything. So you might as well be in that. I mean, Jeff Bezos, his vision was for Amazon to be the premier delivery company on earth. And I will say Jeff has done it.
Yeah.
He's done it.
Absolutely.
He has done it.
I would agree. I would agree with you. You bring up some really good points.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really good points. And so here's what I want to do is I want to ask Faustina before I try to ask another question. Did either of you have another question? Because I know y'all are taking notes just like I am.
Yes, I definitely am taking notes. I said one of the things that we want to do, and it's part of our mission, is to provide financial literacy and education. Mm-hmm. So my ask, and I always ask the hard ask, but Rita, would you be so kind as to come back and do a webinar for us? Because we don't have time for us to really break this down.
Oh, yes.
And
particularly for entrepreneurs on managing this money. I definitely don't do that, because the big thing for entrepreneurs, quickly, the 5 pain points, cash flow is key here, because that's coming in and going out. And so the 2 questions entrepreneurs, Black female entrepreneurs, you got to ask this, is that where's my revenue coming from and where's it going? Where's it coming from? How many streams do you have? I have coaching programs, I have physical products, I have digital products. Then if I'm speaking somewhere, so you got to identify where your revenue is coming from. Then when it comes in, where's it going? That's key right there. So yes, I would love to do that, because if you're making this kind of money, and there are some people who are doing very, very well, 15, 20,000 a month consistently. But the problem is the lifestyle is $15,000 a month. And that's why they don't have any money to invest back in the business. Revenue is a sale of goods and service, and it flows in the business, doesn't flow to your pocket.
Right. And on that note, we're gonna go to another commercial break. But when we get back, Rita, I want you to be prepared to let people know how they can get in contact with you. So we're gonna go to a commercial break. So as a reminder, you're here with the Boardroom with Black Women's Wall Street, Inc., where you will always have a seat at the table.
Want more? Like and follow us at the Boardroom Radio Show.
If you love soul food the way I do, then Miss Mary's Southern Kitchen is where you want to go. Their new location is at 605 North Denton Tap and Highway 121 in Coppell, Texas. Not in the mood to cook dinner? Then place your order at www.missmaryssouthernkitchen.com or drive through on your way home. That's right. Miss Mary's Southern Kitchen has the only drive-through window for soul food in Dallas. Whether you're dining in or using their drive-thru, you can order their fried chicken or catfish. You can't forget about their sides like collard greens, candied yams, and the best mac and cheese ever. And Miss Mary's desserts are made from scratch, and you want to try her butter cake. It's worth breaking your diet for. Let Miss Mary's Southern Kitchen make dinner for your family tonight or cater your next event. Order at www.missmaryssouthernkitchen.com or use the drive-thru at their new location at 605 North Denton Tap Road and Highway 121 in Coppell. That's Miss Mary's Southern Kitchen.
Empowering Black women business owners. It's the Boardroom.
All right, you are back, and we are at the end of our show here at the Boardroom with Black Women's Wall Street, Inc. We had an amazing conversation with Rita Oliver, who is a master financial coach, wealth strategist, and an author. And so, Rita, I know that it's the end of the show, but as Faustina mentioned earlier, we absolutely need you to come back, but we want to be able to give you an opportunity to do a webinar, because part of our mission with Black Women's Wall Street is to provide the financial literacy and education, and you did that. I mean, you gut punched us with some really good information. So Rita, please tell everybody how they can get in contact with you, whether it be website, phone number, social media. Just share and let them know how they can get in contact with you.
Absolutely. So in terms of my website, it's RitaOliverSOS.com. So my name and the call letters of my business, RitaOliverSOS.com. When you come on the site, you go down to the end, you put in your name, and then you'll be able to watch a free video called Financial Strategies. I give you a short video. You can also find me on Facebook at Rita Oliver. You can direct message me there. And then in terms of contacting me via phone, it's 214-728-0912. So you may get my voicemail, because if the phone doesn't recognize you, it'll silence it, leave me a voicemail, and I will contact you back. So Jacoy and Latoya and Faustina, I want to thank you so much. This is absolutely wonderful. And yes, I'll come back to do the webinar, because as women, a lot of money is rolling through our hands, and we got to understand how to manage that money and navigate the water so that money can work for us. We really, really do. And so I look forward to doing that. And one of the questions you asked me, and I hope I can do it quickly, was about people drowning in debt. So what you have to do is you got to recognize there is a problem. Your expenses are exceeding your income. Then you got to stop creating debt. You got to write it down, what you're paying monthly, what the balances are. You got to see if you have any cash where you can pay out something small, or you got to go sell something. And then what you got to do is go get some professional help. That's how you get out.
And that professional help will be the one and only Rita Oliver. I don't know anybody else we can tell them to go to. So they need to come see you, boo.
Yes, you need to come see you. Yeah.
And so stay connected to us so that they can, connect to you too. Because we're going to bring you back.
Absolutely.
We're going to bring you back to do a webinar.
Absolutely. Love to do that. Love to get down into the details so people can write it down and really see it.
And practice and put it into place.
Absolutely. That's the only way you're going to get it.
Well, thank you again, Rita. We really appreciate you being a part of the show. I know this will not be our last time connecting with one another. but thank you again for being a part and just sharing all of those nuggets. So thank you for that. We truly appreciate
Thank you for allowing me to share, because by giving out the information, even if a few mindsets are changed to say, I got to go do something differently. I got to do it today. That is exactly what I want, is that simple, life-changing transformation. That's what I want.
I can dig it. I can dig it. All right. Well, Toya, talk to everybody and let them know how they can get in contact with us, Black Women's Wall Street.
Absolutely. So again, on our website at www.blackwomen'swallstreet.org/the boardroom, and women's is plural and possessive. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at the Boardroom Radio Show, on Twitter at boardroom_radio, and LinkedIn at the Boardroom Radio. And of course, we're on YouTube. So go like and subscribe.
Absolutely. And one other thing, just as a reminder, if you are listening to us, sometimes some people may be listening to us on Facebook Live through our page, the Boardroom, but we also are on iHeartRadio. So you can download iHeartRadio app, so you can go and listen to all of our shows that have been streaming since the beginning of summer. So you can go there. And as Toya mentioned, we have a YouTube channel, so you can find all of our amazing guests that have been with us over the past few months. So make sure that you download the iHeartRadio app and listen to us there, or go to YouTube and subscribe, and then you can always check in with us that way. The other thing is that some of you may be listening to us through the radio. So we're also in the Loma Linda, California area. So if you are listening through call letters KCAA 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, 106.5 FM, in Loma Linda, California, you can check us out on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we are just all over the map.
Yes, you really are.
Yeah. You can listen and hear.
Yeah, one more thing, please. Hey, and if you are a Black woman in business, we also have our Beauty and Brain Spotlight. We want to give you a shout out on air. So go to our website, like Toya said, so that we can kind of celebrate you and help promote your business.
Absolutely. So we appreciate you sticking with us and being a part of us at the Boardroom. Next week, we're really excited because we'll be entering into a new month. And so you know what happens at the first of the month. We are blessed to have Our Voice, Our View with the beautifully talented Hollywood actress Melinda Williams. So she'll be back on with us on next week's show. So we're excited about that. And at this point, this is it, y'all. This is the Boardroom. This is the Boardroom. This is what we do. This is what we do. So we hope you've enjoyed this show. We really have. So make sure to tune in with us next week. And as a reminder, this is the Boardroom with Black Women's Wall Street, Inc., where you will always have a seat at the table.